Lights, camera, action! We're shooting threes, just SMB. We're gonna watch and review film trilogies. It's all for laughs, so just sit back. We're gonna drop hella dimes on this podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shooting Threes. We are wrapping up the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy here with How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they just decided on a new naming convention on the third movie, but yes, Hidden World.
The Hidden World. Okay. How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World in 3D.
Oh, was it 3D?
I don't know. I'm making that up. I'm your host, Sarah Griffith.
I'm your other host, Bridgett Greenberg. I didn't have my 3D goggles on.
And we are back.
We're back, baby.
We are back in Burke with our cute little guys. And there's more cute little guys and little girls in this one. So I'm very excited to talk about
So excited.
this
so
movie.
many cuties.
This movie was like all about the dragons.
Truly, and I think for me at least, and maybe I'm speaking too soon, this one does a rare feat of, I think, ending on the best movie of the series. Am I dropping a hot take?
You think this is the best one?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because of all the dragon content. You know, I love those guys, but
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it because I was thinking more like this is such a complete trilogy. All of these movies are like tonally and thematically about the same. It really is about growing up.
yeah.
And not just like getting older, but like accepting more responsibility, becoming more mature, and then like ultimately gaining wisdom and allowing that wisdom to inform your decisions and your life decisions and being able to respect, what you've learned and to actually honor yourself and others through that knowledge.
Yeah, this series matures so well with the movies. And I mean,
Yeah.
I wonder if
I was going to say it's a hat trick. Like it really is. It's just one right after the other, like solid.
they're all really good. I really wonder if like I was the age that these movies were targeted to as they were coming out, I would feel this way about the third being the best, or just because I'm a little older than I guess the movie's targeted to, that this one hits me. The more mature movie hits me. And also the dragon content. I think I had more out loud awes during this movie than any of the previous.
Yeah.
And that's
I was squealing. I truly was kicking my feet in the air, burying my face in a pillow. They're
so cute. The courtship scene between Toothless and Lady Toothless. Did she ever get a name?
Yes.
Am I?
Does she?
The Bright Fury. Light Fury, Bright Fury.
Light Fury.
Light Fury.
The Light Fury.
Yeah, I don't know if she can't be tamed, and I also like that about her.
Yeah, she's really pretty. I thought she was cool. I thought it was cool when Toothless was trying to do a little mating dance.
Oh my god, that yeah.
And he's just such a silly guy. He's just such a silly boy. He doesn't know anything.
Such a dork. He is such a dork, and I loved it.
He doesn't have any game. He doesn't have any teeth. He can barely fly.
No, he's an artistic boy. You know, he couldn't woo her with his dances. But then he drew the cutest little picture of her, and that's what sold her on him. And I like that. I like that he's a nerdy boy.
Yes, I also like when the dragons are acting cute on screen. It's the number one reason why we picked this movie to talk about, because it is, above all things, very cute.
So cute. Yeah, should we talk about what happens in the movie? I mean, cuteness all around.
No. Actually, I do want to bring up the fact that, okay, so you brought up something that I thought about too. Like, what if I had these movies when I was growing up? Like, what if I was the target age? But here's kind of the trippy thing about it. The first How to Train Your Dragon came out in 2010. So even the kids that like grew up with the series, like, that was nearly a whole decade in between the first one and the third one. Like, that really would be like 10 to 19 years old. You know what I mean? Like, that's quite a gap. I wonder, like, what was the retention rate of kids that watched this movie when they were kids.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the marketing for How to Train Your Dragon 3, and maybe just because the franchise picked up a little steam.
Totally. Well, in between like all these movies, there's been a Netflix series, and I'm pretty sure there's like a game. Surely there's books. I mean, they're based on books, so
I kind of assumed that I was like surprised at how much I liked this movie. I kind of assumed it was going to be bad actually because
I was like, I don't know. We'll see about this one.
Well, because of like I remember the marketing push. I remember like the McDonald's toy and all that, and it seemed like they're making this really. I liked the first one. I didn't see the second one, but I remember like feeling fond about the first one. But thinking they probably jumped the shark on this one. But and also giving it a title, not just How to Train Your Dragon 3, but The Hidden World.
Dragon 3, yeah.
It sounds cheesy.
I actually remember when, first of all, Rotten Tomatoes has the approval rating of 90%, so we obviously didn't do any
We did no research. I just had a bad taste in my mouth from a marketing push.
Yeah, I also do remember that there was like mild discourse about like, oh, now like Toothless has the girl dragon.
Right.
And there's kind of like a bigger conversation about like how in animation, like it's almost like a compulsory heterosexuality between any animated character. And it's like, oh, but the girl character is just pretty with eyelashes. But she was a lot more than just that, I would say. I think that was a very shallow interpretation of this girl dragon who doesn't have a name. Also, this movie does actually blatantly fail the Bechdel test.
Sure.
There is actually a scene where two women are talking about Hiccup. I was like, oh, so close. We almost did it. But no movie is safe from failing the Bechdel test.
But I will say, I mean, I feel like, I mean, Toothless and Hiccup are kind of parallels of each other. I also probably feel that way about Astrid and the girl dragon. Astrid, I think, is a really cool, tough, capable character who would be a badass and a leader without Hiccup. Like, we could follow her story just as well.
Much better Astrid than the second movie, for sure.
Much better use of her in this movie, and seeing her as like a fully capable warrior without Toothless, and the point they make about like Toothless needing, or Hiccup. Sorry, I said Toothless instead of Hiccup, but they're the same people, same heart.
Yeah, they really are. Same breath.
One heart, yeah. Hiccup not being able to lead without her, and their partnership making each other stronger, just like Toothless and the Light Fury do, and it's so sweet.
Yeah. They definitely had some time to become like a little bit woke in between the second one and the third one, because this one did feel a little bit more like we're equal and we are equally in on this together. I think this was also like the best that they've done so far with like actually having an ensemble movie.
Yes, for sure. It really
did feel like everybody got a hand on the ball.
Yeah. Both the rough nut and tough nut characters had a lot to do in this movie.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed
Kristen
that.
Wiig got to fully solo like an entire section of the movie, which as I've said in the past, she's really the only one like famous actor in these movies that is actually
Kate Blanchett is in these movies.
To do like Kate Blanchett as Lydia Tarr was the very first thing I wrote down.
Lydia Tarr.
No, her accent work is impeccable. Yeah. I mean, perfect.
Did you know that Lydia Tarr also trained dragons?
Yes, actually. Isn't that, she won an Emmy for that, right? That's where she got the E in the EGOT.
Yeah. But different movie that I can talk about for a whole other podcast.
Wow, for real. But I think we could just dive in, because I think we've kind of already started to talk about like big picture ideas.
Yeah.
In the first 15 minutes of the movie, that was when I was the most scared of like, they're kind of like gonna phone this one in, right?
I did not. Gonna be like, yeah, I mean, they have that classic opening that I guess that's like a staple of these movies of the "This is Burke" scene.
Yes, the establishing narration or whatever. Which that's when you really know this is for kids.
Sure. Yeah, and This time it did not work. Well, because it was very repetitive. They weren't saying anything new.
Well, no, actually, this one starts with a cold open where
Right.
Hiccup, they're all like rescuing the dragons.
Yes. That was a great scene.
And they have like, which that was a very cool way to open the movie. But then when it got back to Burke, I was like, fuck. Like, is this really going to be like,
Yeah.
kind of the weak one?
Yeah, it didn't grab me yet at that point. But yeah, we have that cool.
Actually, yeah, like the first two things that I wrote down was like, okay, now I'm not so sure that I like the fact that Toothless Dad died because like I enjoyed that character. I liked having that character around. And then I also was like, is the Burke ecosystem like not completely fucked up by how many dragons live there now? Like they must be burning through sheep and lamb and cow. And like, I guess they eat fish, which like there are famously plenty of them. But like, is that not like fucking, like how do they still have grass?
Yeah, because when they rescued all those dragons, they brought him back to Burke, and they like did the "This is Burke, it's a dragon utopia," and I was like, there are people living there too that you are supposed to be in charge of.
Yeah,
and it seems like at this point there's a more dragons than people situation going on, and
it's easily like 3-1.
Yeah, and I kind of agreed with what's his face, the dad's best friend,
Craig Ferguson.
The Craig Ferguson character where he's like, we can't handle this. And I was like, yeah, look around, dude.
Yeah.
You're giving up, like, there's got to be a balance here.
These movies are so fucking good because literally the two things that I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, okay, Toothless Dad also came back. I keep calling him Toothless.
I know.
Hiccup's dad.
Yeah.
Hiccup's dad comes back into the movie.
Yeah.
He has really great flashback scenes.
Right. When you felt that hole in the beginning of him not being there, it was definitely addressed.
Yeah, it was almost immediately.
Yeah,
he was plugged back in, and then like me saying, "Oh yeah, isn't Burke like overrun by dragons?" That's the plot of the movie.
Yeah, that is the problem in the movie that they get to with the hidden.
Like they know it's like Sarah. We'll
get to
we're gonna get to that. Why don't you just calm down?
You're in safe hands with DreamWorks. We know.
Why don't you just enjoy like the footage of these funny guys flying around, knocking things over?
And I will say I'm glad, I don't know if this is why, but I'm glad they took their time with those movies, because also visually, I mean, they've all been stunning, but this one, like, the CGI has caught up to it's the most beautiful movie out of a very beautiful series. Yeah, there are some stunning images, especially in the later scene where Toothless and the Light Fury fly together, have their first like flight together.
Oh my god, talk about Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah. Blew it out of the water. The way of the water.
Okay, and Hiccup, as he's getting older, is getting more handsome. That is a choice. They're doing that on purpose.
Yeah, I do not like his stupid little braids. But the stubble, the hair, like his jaw's getting more chiseled. Daddy Hiccup at the end. Daddy Hiccup was hot.
I mean, so somebody online pointed out that like he's basically John Krasinski.
That
Hiccup is John Krasinski.
Yeah, he does look like John Krasinski, which adds up.
Like very.
Yeah.
Like there's no way John Krasinski's not the reference for this character. Like you cannot convince me that there wasn't like a photo of John Krasinski when they were like putting this character together to begin with.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. I didn't see it, but no, absolutely 100%. But
oh hell yeah. Yeah. And then the kids are aging up. I also forgot that like this is the era where like TJ Miller was absolutely like excommunicated from every
it's a
project
different
he
voice,
worked on. And that's a different voice entirely, because I was like, oh, like because Kristen Wiig is so distinct as Rough Nut, and then here's Tough Nut like coming out with a voice I've never heard before. Like
it's a TJ Miller impression.
Yes,
that works well enough. But yeah, it does sound different. Noticeably sound different.
And then I had to remember what happened to TJ Miller and like all of that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, talk about something that like a person that I had forgotten existed entirely.
That was the point.
And this movie, this movie made me confront the fact that like, right. That was like headline news prior to 2020. Like that was at least 1 week of news cycle. Like I don't even know if that would get a headline story.
Probably not.
today.
No, definitely not now. But at the time, yeah, he's out. There's a guy doing a TJ Miller impression, which works just fine.
Fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get back to Burke. It is overrun with dragons. His Kate Blanchett is back as his mom, and they're kind of like co-running the island, I guess. Or like his mom is still like a figure that they all look up to. I can't quite tell what the hierarchy is at that point. Like,
well, I mean,
I think they're both just
Hiccup
like leaders.
Is now the chief. Hiccup is the chief of the village.
Yeah.
So she would be like the chief mother.
Yeah, I guess that's how, because like she's definitely respected and looked up to in the village too. But I guess that's just
and I guess like everyone has like kind of moved on from the fact that like she did kind of abandon everybody.
But you know,
I mean, if Hiccup can move on from that, then I guess everyone's like, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah, I do like I forget whoever Jonah Hill plays, whatever his character keeps hitting on the mom, keeps hitting on Kate Blanchett's character.
I think it's funny that Jonah Hill's character is like a little horny throughout this entire trilogy.
Oh, always. He was always, yeah.
Like I do appreciate that we do have like the token kind of horny character. Also, Eret is back.
Yes.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say I think this is some of Kit Harington's best work.
Oh yeah.
I think he should almost exclusively be a voiceover actor.
Absolutely, because I think a lot of the problem I have with Kit Harington's acting is he only makes like squinty pouty face. That's his like one acting move.
Actually, I did just rewatch 7 Days in Hell.
Oh, I mean, he's
Lonely
fantastic
Island.
in that. So,
and he's also good at that. I think really like just comedic roles.
Yeah.
I think he's better suited for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's very
like,
much a
across the
straight man
board.
in this, but his like rivalry. I love a dynamic where like Jonah Hill's character has a rivalry with him, and he's just like, whatever, dude.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, this is 2019. This is like, is this not peak Game of Thrones finale Kit Harington? Like,
I guess it is.
I feel like this is when he was like super hot, right?
I guess it is, but like very different audiences.
Wow.
So.
And very different results because this is wonderful. I can't say the same for the final season of Game of Thrones, but this is fucking amazing.
One great ending, one not so great ending.
Wow, maybe this is the only major franchise property that ended in 2019 that actually ended on a good note.
We'll have to
Oh, I guess Endgame. Endgame was 2019 as well.
Yeah.
And that was like,
I was going to say, I feel like
ending.
we got to replay the tape on that, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe don't.
An interesting.
Maybe don't hold my word to that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, we see Burke. They're like, it's overrun with dragons. Hiccup, when are you gonna really step into this role of chief? You know, AKA Mary Astrid. They have a weird thing going on where like I can't tell what is.
Were they not engaged?
They were
in the last movie.
Yeah,
because I remember we talked about the fact that like, wait a second, they're engaged.
I think they are. Yeah, I think they were, and I think they were just like together but not married. And I can't. The movie never really makes it.
Okay, what I remember about the last movie is that like there was a throwaway fiance line that I didn't hear, and that's what we talked about. Because according to Wikipedia, they're engaged. But then I just kind of threw me off because in this movie, it's like, well, you two should get married. And they're like, married? And it's like, well, what do you think happens when you get engaged? Like,
yeah.
Maybe also the writers on this one were like, you know what? No one even fucking remembers that they were engaged in the last one.
Right.
Why don't we just like play on, you know?
Right. And it's very, like, I guess neither of them really want to be married. Like that dynamic, their dynamic as a couple is confusing to me. In the beginning.
You know, I think it's got to be less about being a couple and more about being in charge.
Good relationship advice.
Let's get into that. Also,
great relationship advice from Sarah Griffith.
You know,
don't be a couple. Fight for power. Always.
Well, also, I feel like we're in the era where, like, the night you got married, you got pregnant. I think maybe there's also some of that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's,
that like marriage leads to immediate pregnancy. So like maybe like it's not just marriage, but it's like having a family. And then I do also think like both of them are a little bit afraid of like power because they want to hold on to their youth. I mean, this is a series about growing up.
That's
It
true.
really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I think maybe that's a better way to read it is, them, just wanting to. Yeah, I think things become more serious once they're married and they're a chief and what did they call her or something weird at the
like
chieftainess?
Chiefess. That was the word. Chiefess.
They used a word and I was like, what? But yeah, a chief and a chiefess. And
no,
then it becomes...
I remember it was chiefess because I meant to Google, is that a real fucking word?
it cannot be. It dinged me too. I was like, what? But yes, you are now chief and chiefess. And also when royals get married, they're still man and wife.
Right.
But
yeah, no, I think for them it's just like, because they even talk about, I mean, look, this plot recap is going fucking nowhere. If you haven't watched the movie, tough shit.
Also, if you have not listened to these podcasts and you're starting here,
oh, brother, let me tell you, we're going to be talking about anything but this movie at a certain point. But no, because they even have a conversation and Astrid's like, well, we're not ready for marriage. You know, they kind of say it like that. And I do think like for them, it's the difference between being like childhood sweethearts versus like husband and wife.
Yeah. Oh, it's a big step. And I don't like it's a weird territory to navigate like as an adult going like so
I mean,
for a
that's
kids
also,
movie that's like a
fair,
much more nuanced conversation for what this movie needs to say but
yes
but yeah they still want to go on their adventure.
I think we should right they still want to be able to like fuck off, but it's like, no, the village, we're starving because you've brought 50,000 dragons to live on this island of 350 people.
You stupid child.
We should introduce the fact that there is a new villain in this movie named Grimmel.
Yes.
The villains in these movies, by and large, all kind of want the same thing, and I don't really care. To me, I'm just happy they're there because they're advancing the plot forward.
Sure. I also really loved the villain is played by F. Murray Abraham, and his accent came and went a lot. Like, there were a couple of times where I was like, who was that? And a couple of times where I was like, that's Richard Nixon.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he was so good. He was so good as a villain in this movie.
Yes, a great, like, I'm just doing this for fun kind of performance from an actor.
And doing a great job. But yeah, once again, he has prided himself on killing all of the Night Furies. He's a big dragon hunter guy and I guess wants to kill all the dragons, as everybody does. And Burke.
Yeah, it always kind of gets down to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And because Hiccup has brought in all of these dragons to Burke, it has become like a clear target of these poachers. Because of course it has Hiccup, you stupid child.
Yeah. The Grimmel also is doing this, like, I think they introduced something that I think is really fucked up. That Grimmel extracts like the poison from inside.
Yeah, he's drugging the
dragons,
and
he's poisoning his own fleet of dragons, so they're essentially slaves to him.
Yeah, it's not that different from the second one where they are under a spell of some sort.
I don't know. That one at least seems a little bit ethical because that is something dragons are capable of doing. This is full-blown, like, biological warfare against these dragons. I thought like that little detail, I was like, okay, that is fucked up.
Right.
That is extremely fucked up.
I also think they needed a way, in Gribble's case, to have these horde of dragons that are villains.
Well, he needs to have dragons, just logically speaking, because like, what are you gonna do?
You can't fight dragons with people.
Dragon yourself?
Yeah, you need,
what the hell?
Yeah, so you need dragons that it is okay to kill, I guess. Because they're...
I'm sorry, it's just now occurring to me that Kit Harington is again in a series about dragons. Like,
he loves dragons.
I just pieced it together. This man really, in his career, was like, if there's a dragon in it, I'm in
I
it.
won't be in it. And then, yeah, a series specifically where there is a scene of someone's hand holding out to touch a dragon's nose, because that is famously how you become friends with a dragon, is you let them
Right. They have to
pet
sniff
your
your
snoot.
hand.
let them pet your snoot. You gotta,
Yes.
or you pet their snoot.
Yeah, so Grimmel's whole thing is like, I just want to kill your Night Fury.
Yeah.
And then, like, I guess by extension, like, any dragon that gets in the way, I'll also kill. Like, fuck them.
He'll kill, and then, you know, by, I guess, the end game there is if he has these dragons that are drugged and he's killed all the other powerful alpha dragons, then he becomes the most powerful guy because he is the only one with a fleet of dragons.
Oh my god, dude. You and everybody else
It's
in
the
these
same
movies, like, give
plan.
me a fucking break.
Oh
Oh
but
my god.
I do think he is. Well, in the first, I mean, the second and third in the first movie, it's just showing people that dragons are friends.
And did he also not deploy the girl dragon to, like, essentially dickmatize poor Toothless? Like, she was always kind of like...
She was always a bait. She was bait.
An accidental double agent. Yeah, she was bait.
Yeah, but yeah, you made Toothless fall in love, and then you used it against him like a real piece of shit, Grimmel.
Yeah, and you know what? Since we're talking about it, I'm gonna say it. Fuck Grimmel.
Fuck Grimmel.
Fuck him.
This podcast is anti-Grimmel.
So sick of this. I'm so sick of this discourse that, like, Grimmel actually was the good guy all along and, like, he had the better plan. It's like, why don't you shut the fuck up and stop being such a goddamn bitch? Sit down. You're not going to kill the Night Furies. Just go the fuck away. Like, you know, God, am I the first person to stand up and, like, say this out loud?
I mean, I'm glad someone's saying it because
Grimmel
sucks. Used love as a weakness when we all know it is the ultimate superpower.
He played our little boy, our silly little guy. He took advantage of his innocence.
Yes.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
He is. I mean, it's also funny to me whenever Toothless has King of the Dragon scenes and he's like the leader of the dragons. I'm like, oh, you made him too cute for me to believe this.
Picture like a Shih Tzu,
right?
Like barking in front of a bunch of Great Danes, like
you made him
like that is.
He
what
is
that
not
looks
the
like.
biggest dragon.
Not at all.
He's not the toughest looking by any means.
He doesn't have teeth.
He does not have teeth, which I thought was
not visibly at least.
I thought all Night Furies didn't have teeth.
Yeah, is it like they can suck it into their gums and then pull them out when they need
to?
Oh
yeah, because he does growl with teeth. Does he? Am I making that up?
If I'm understanding my lore correctly, I think that's correct.
The Light Fury does have teeth.
Yes.
And they are dull teeth. They are cute little teeths. But
she has teeth.
She has teeth, not teeth. Teeth. I mean, once again, it is a kids' movie about dragons, so there's some confusing stuff about the mechanics of the dragons.
Or maybe we've just fucking forgotten.
Or maybe we forgot it. Maybe we're
and now we're too deep into it.
Maybe we're the idiots. My other problem with this is so somehow we've shown that Toothless kind of can fly without him a little bit without Hiccup.
Yes.
And then Hiccup's finally like, all right, I'm going to give you your own tail. And dude, wouldn't have that been easier all along? How different is that?
I think just Toothless liked the companionship. I think Toothless just felt more comfortable with Hiccup going along for the ride. And like Astrid said, like Toothless has never really needed to fly solo anywhere. Like he's always just kind of been Hiccup's buddy. But
yeah, for Hiccup,
now there's a girl involved.
For Hiccup, that tail seems a lot. The tail that stays a tail seems a lot easier to design than the tail that is activated with his foot.
Yeah, but you know what? I think Toothless and Hiccup have been each other's like personal service animals. You know what I mean? To each other, like they've been
the wind beneath their wings.
Yeah, they're like they're both disabled. They both need each other to fly.
Yeah.
Plus, they had that hookup from Hiccup's leg, his prosthetic leg, to Toothless.
Yeah.
Like.
And this is about them.
Yeah, but he sure does. He sure does take that fixed wing and is like, all right, man. I see when I see you. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Come back
Well, no, he does it so
for dinner.
well, he does it so, he sees the Light Fury. Toothless kind of falls in love, is interested, but the Light Fury won't go near, doesn't trust humans.
It really is like introducing two cats because you kind of have to keep distance for a while before they get to know
Right.
each other, and like
They have to do it on their own.
she's like a cat that's like I don't like men. I don't like
Yeah.
men.
Yeah, she's a more
You can hang out with me, but I don't like men.
yeah. Toothless is very much like a rescue dog that was rescued when it was a puppy, like before anything traumatic happened, and the Light Fury is
Yeah.
very much like some stuff has happened, and it would rather you not
Well,
come up
she
to
has
it.
been. Yeah, she's been a prisoner of Grimmel's for a long time, so like I kind of understand she doesn't trust humans at
Yeah,
all.
no, it makes total sense. But so yeah, Hiccup kind of like he sees that his buddy has a crush, and for the, I guess if they're the last two Night Furies out there, they kind of have to,
Yeah. How do you feel knowing that not only do dragons fuck, but they can be horny?
yeah, I'm into it.
Sit with that.
I'm into it. I have no problems.
I just see an animal like I hate seeing a pregnant dog or pregnant cat because to me animals are like children, like they're little,
Yeah,
they're babies.
they're innocent,
And it's like your 3-year-old dog is pregnant? That is disgusting. She's only 3.
yeah.
That's not right.
But have you ever seen that dog?
I guess that's life.
that is life, and you've probably watched that dog hump a pillow. I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's happened. So,
No, I had
Toothless
a
was
girl
definitely,
dog
like,
and she
humping
didn't do any of
logs.
that.
in Burke,
Yeah, they have a whole mating ritual, and they even say that Night Furies mate for life.
monogamy.
I'm like, you guys have a lot of, and you know what? I don't mean to call bullshit on the people of Burke, but y'all have an awful lot of knowledge and information about an extremely rare dragon that up until literally the first movie, y'all thought were like all gone. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well,
Yeah,
the Night
now
Dragon,
you're-
actually, if you look up the Wikipedia page for the Night Dragon, like, okay, well, all of a sudden we're fucking Night Dragon experts?
Right, and now we're imposing your
Isn't
human
Toothless like
rules.
the only one plus her?
Yeah, and now you're imposing.
I mean, they literally make up a name for the chick. They're like, I don't know what we call her, a Light Fury?
right. Yeah, no, and they're just like imposing their norms, their societal norms on these dragons who want to live free.
I'm saying.
Let the dragons be dragons. But yeah, no, Hiccup's got to get out of Dodge so they can fuck. So these dragons can
Right.
fuck. And so, we talked about the scene earlier, but he goes, finds his invisible girlfriend, which is also a very cool power of hers that she can kind of turn in.
Very fucking cool.
Kinda
Yeah, that
turn-
is sick.
Yeah, it's why they missed her on the first like dragon escape plan when they were freeing all those dragons, is because she was invisible and she was scared
Right.
of all the people.
Oh.
But I know. But then Toothless finds her. He's a big old dork when it comes to mating dance. Oh, when he was practicing his mating dance and making out with the rock.
Yeah, that was really sweet. I thought that was very cute. I thought that was when the movie was really good.
Yeah, he had seen the Light Fury and was so spinning that he was working on his dance, how he's gonna woo her, and then making out with a shadow like a gross horny preteen.
I can't tell. Obviously, I've never animated a single thing in my fucking life. I wonder if things like that are like, I bet those scenes are like really fun to animate, but also the biggest pain in the ass. You know what I mean? I bet it, like, that's what I was thinking, like all the movement of the wings and like keeping like, well, when the wing flap, the like leaves behind them have to flap, and like the sand, when they were in the sand and the
yeah.
sand was like falling off of their bodies and they were digging in and out of the sand. I was like, Jesus Christ,
I mean, there's,
like
like,
15
huge-
people spent 2 years doing just that, surely.
Oh,
it looked
surely.
amazing.
It's incredible what they do, and it's so over my head, and I'm in awe of it every single time. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
His little dance when Hiccup was like hiding in the bushes trying to tell him how to dance, and then he tried to do like the human he didn't understand he was supposed to use his wings instead of his
Yeah.
arms. Oh, that made me giggle.
That was really funny. He's such a good wing. Hiccup is such a good wingman. Hiccup, you know what? I'm going to say it. No one else is saying it. Hiccup is a really good guy.
Hiccup is a good guy. He's a down bro, and I think he's respectful.
He's real. He's very real.
He's very real.
Yeah,
and
he gets it.
Yeah. In Rough Nut, I think it's Rough Nut, not Tough Nut. The boy, the TJ Miller sound alike.
Tough Nut is the boy.
Yeah. His trying to give advice on Hiccup and Tough Nut are walking through the woods, and he's like, bro, you gotta get married. No one's gonna marry you. You gotta have a beard like me, and his like stupid beard bit where he ties his hair as a beard and pretends he's a grown man. That was cute. I like that running bit of his terrible advice.
Yeah, Rough Nut and Tough Nut really do have starring roles in this film, like in a way that they really haven't before. The whole like Rough Nut is captured by Grimmel.
Oh my
and then
god!
is released. Like I never knew
want to
like
talk
what
about
the
that
stakes
scene.
were. Obviously, that bit didn't last long. I thought like when she was first kidnapped, I was like, okay, why isn't this a bigger deal? But then it was played as a gag, which was very funny, and I did love Kristen Wiig's whole like annoying Grimmel so much, like he has to let her go, like he's gonna track her instead. Like I really enjoyed that.
I love that scene. It made me wish that we got so much more of them in the previous movies. That scene of her being captured and everyone like, I was like, someone's got to go back. Like her brother, no one's gonna go back. I thought that was gonna be a plot point of her being saved.
Oh, totally. I thought that was gonna be like, something.
I thought that was gonna be
serious,
like
and
the
then-
actor,
or like
because they never. But we should have known. They never go back to save friends.
yeah. I thought like maybe like
They go back to save dragons. not
that's
friends.
so true. They save dragons. They don't save friends. Friends can figure it out on their own. A dragon needs a lot of help.
A dragon needs your help. But unless you are the dragon's friend, then the dragon can help you.
And then the dragon will save you.
Yes. Yeah, but that scene is so good. Her playing with her hair when she comes out and like annoys him with her hair was so funny.
Yes.
Really, really great moment in these movies that like, just made me wish I had more of them in the previous two because they had some good bits.
Again, this one does a really good job of being an ensemble picture. I feel like everybody kind of contributes to the story. Everyone gets a moment. Everyone gets a gag. Everyone's like participating. Love to see that.
The Christmas Plus character with his baby dragon that he brings everywhere, just being a big old.
Oh, I loved that. I love the baby dragon so much. I thought the baby dragon was so cute.
That he brought. And his like little baby Bjorn thing that he brought everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, I love what they did with this.
It's like you brought a baby into battle. It's like, well,
I
what
couldn't
is he
find
gonna
a
do?
sitter.
Leave him at home in a crib.
Couldn't find a sitter. You got to bring the baby to battle.
Yeah. So while Rough Nut is like fully captured, Hiccup and Astrid are like, well, obviously, like we know the rules of this universe. We have to find Toothless. Like we got to go. They find the fucking hidden world.
We did miss the part where they're like, this guy Grimmel is coming for us, so we got to go. His father told him
we've been on
the story
Newburgh for many, many minutes at this point. Yeah.
They're on Newburgh, but Toothless, but Hiccup the whole time was hoping they would go live in this hidden world. So he didn't want to like, claim Newburgh, but everybody here is like, I love it. We're gonna build Newburgh, and Toothless and Astrid are still, even after the loss of Tough Nut. I think Tough Nut. I can't. Kristen Wiig.
Rough Nut.
Rough Nut. Okay. Even after the loss of Rough Nut, they're like, well, she'll figure it out. We're gonna go try to still find this hidden world.
Yes, which I think they did like kind of easily. Like that was like maybe 2 days of flying on Dragonback to get there, right?
Easily. I mean, they said. I mean, the thing that threw me off, it didn't even seem like a day to me, but maybe it was more than that.
No, it seemed like a 90-minute drive from Newburgh.
But they're like, it's a waterfall at the and they're like, it's a waterfall at the end of the world, and I was like, you're at the end of the. I mean, I guess Burke's pretty out there, but you're already at the end of the.
But you know what? I was initially like, okay, so how come Hiccup's dad like couldn't fucking find this before? Okay, because Hiccup's dad wasn't on the back of a dragon. They would probably need to find this place like via ship,
right?
And that maybe would be like a much longer journey.
Yeah, sure. I'll give that.
Also, the ships aren't creatures that know these things. Dragons have kind of like this magical connection to one another.
Yeah, and this intuition.
And they just know.
But yeah, they go down into that waterfall that is the hidden world, and it is the most unreal scene. There are all these
Yeah.
weird quarters and different like landscapes, and then they go into that rave landscape.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the rave room, and then they go into the forest land, where
Yeah.
yeah, it's so cool. We get to see all these new
And
dragons.
Toothless
a
is
little
in
baby
charge
dragon.
of all of those dragons. I mean, we've known he's like the king of the dragons or whatever, but like he is really leading this entire world.
Yeah, they immediately like respect this dude. I mean,
But I guess he doesn't know how to tell the other dragons.
Yeah, I mean, they keep calling him the king of the dragons, and so I guess that's like kind of the Night Fury's role. But in theory, weren't there many Night Furies once upon a time?
I don't know. I just the confidence that our young Toothless has to come into this whole new world and be like, everyone, I'm in charge. I'm the king.
Well, to be fair,
This is my bride.
To be fair, the Light Fury does like egg him on. She's like, "Go, this is your," like she gives him the little nudge of like, "You can do this, babe. You got this." And by
yeah,
her
the
side,
Nala to his Simba.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by her side, he can.
Well, you know what they say.
What do they say?
Behind every great Night Fury, there's a stronger Light Fury.
This is true, and nothing. These movies really prove that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
So, but the thing about the hidden world though is that obviously it's like no humans allowed.
Yeah,
because when the human Astrid and Hiccup are discovered, that's like, okay, you guys got to get the hell out of here. Toothless thankfully was like, no, they're with me.
But we can't let everybody in. It would ruin the party. It would ruin the rave room. Humans always ruin the rave room.
Yeah, and it's becoming just clearer as this movie was going on that like, I just don't think they can live with dragons like this anymore.
Yeah, that
it's just kind of becoming more and more problematic. And like, I did have a moment where I did start to think like, well, that sucks. Like the dragons, like you guys are cohabitating. Like it seemed to be working out okay. Yeah, but like they're routinely attacked by dragon killers. Like, what is the body count of Burke at this point? Like,
yeah.
This is what took out Hiccup's dad. Hiccup's father died protecting these dragons.
Took out Hiccup's dad, and like your chief is now leaving with his band of misfits constantly to stop poachers and stop people from poaching your dragons, and therefore collecting more dragons and then having to stop more poachers. It's kind of a logistical nightmare. And you want them to be able to work it out so bad because these are their buddies.
Yeah.
But, they are wild beasts. And they do have hierarchies that need to be maintained. But yeah, meanwhile...
Yeah, and they do eat...
Yeah, more than you can imagine.
More food than anybody could probably sustain, honestly. I don't know what they're eating in the hidden world. Maybe other dragons?
Oh god, I hope not. Are they're like fish dragons?
I don't know. They seem to be okay with just eating like whatever random Viking salmon or whatever the fuck. But like, anyway, these are questions for the fourth movie.
Yeah,
that will eventually come out. I'm almost certain
for the book
they'll have another one
for the book How to Train Your Dragons and what they eat.
Yeah, I guess there is a whole book series we can look this shit up, but I'm not gonna do that.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, meanwhile in the plot, Grimmel has been tracking Roughnut. He has a whole fucking armada of ships. Which, like, where are these bad guys getting all these fucking people? You could not convince me to get on a ship in the middle of the ocean and fight dragons, and like that's what we're gonna do.
Well, if you believe in his plan, and this is gonna be the leader of the world. What you consider to be the world, then yeah, you got to back someone in this fight.
I guess I just don't think like I as a human being would be like, yes, me and these three people with like, I don't know, a cannon will take down a fucking dragon.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
It's a bold plan,
I'd
but
say
he does pride himself.
Not me.
Part of his thing is ego driven of like being the best dragon hunter in the world, and he must kill all the night.
He
Furies
is good at
'cause
drawing
that's,
a plan. Yeah, I gotta say, there was a couple times where it was like a Grimmel, like, oh, but you thought it was this, but actually, it's this.
Right,
And
letting
it got me a
Roughnut
few times,
go.
honestly.
Yeah, he had some good moves. The letting Roughnut go so he can track
Oh,
her.
I knew when he let Roughnut go. I'm like, they're tracking. That's I mean, that's
Yeah.
a Star Wars
I mean, classic, but yeah.
day
no.
one.
It was. I mean, he was introduced as a a villain that's always going to be one step ahead, and he certainly was that.
Yeah, it really was.
I also think he could have been
Yeah.
well played by Christopher Walken, as much as Murray Abraham did a great job.
Yeah,
This
I
does
can
feel like
hear
a
that for
Christopher
sure.
Walken villain. That would have been fun. But yeah, so he tracks.
Grimmel
and
has
then,
knocked out
Are we at our
both
big
of our
dragon fight?
dragons, our boy dragon and our girl dragon. Yeah, right? Like, I mean, this is pretty much how I feel like all these movies like wrap up in a big battle where like
Yeah,
there's
that's
just
how
kind of, like
movies
not
end.
much for us to talk about because like but I mean it's just kind of like all the pieces just need to fall into their place at this point.
Right, exactly. I mean,
We gotta kill Grimmel. We do that.
yeah,
we gotta free
need
our
the big dragon
dragons. We do
fight.
that.
We need, yeah. I mean, yeah. At some point, especially movies for children's movies, have to be easy to follow, so you kind of know where it's all going.
Yeah, once the third act begins, it's like, you know what?
Get us to the battle.
I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, get us to the battle. Good wins. They're gonna have a happy ending, a sad ending, but a happy ending.
Yeah, okay, so why don't we just like start to get into it? Because
I mean, the battle scene was great.
Something that
I will say the battle scene
I shed
is
a tear.
Yes, it was one of my favorite big battle scenes in these movies. It's again visually stunning. And I think the most compelling. Like they don't waste a ton of time with this battle scene. Which I like. There's not a lot of useless fighting. And
Yeah.
it keeps you engaged throughout and engaged in the stakes of everything. And then
Yeah, absolutely.
and then it also gets the Light Fury to trust Hiccup because he sacrifices himself,
Yes.
tells her to go save. He saves her so she can save Toothless, and he can sacrifice himself, and then she gets him at the end. And he's like, "No, what? You are a
Yes.
good guy."
Okay. So speaking of this ending, this movie does something that I have always when I was a kid or even like as an adult, when a movie ends and it's like two beings that are like, we have to go our separate ways, it's emotional goodbye, and then they like
Go on, Gate.
split off. A lot of times I do think like, well, surely you two can visit each other. I mean, it's not going to be the same, but like, my God, this can't be like the end forever. Like, that seems really harsh. And I was so afraid that this movie was going to have one of those like goodbye forever. So, like, imagine how happy I was that they did have a little epilogue where, like,
Oh yeah,
we know that Toothless is capable of seeing Hiccup again.
I know. Yeah, I mean, again, that's where and maybe because I am not a child and I'm an adult who has seen plenty of movies and know how movies work, that that goodbye scene where they grew apart, I think it was really well done. It like made a lot of sense of why they had to part ways.
Yeah.
Why it was best for both of them, and it kind of like made a good point about growing up and letting the people you love be who they are and not holding them back and learning how to be strong together but also as separate people, as your own person.
Yeah, I mean, they had to come together to protect each other, but now that both parties have come to a solution,
yeah,
like they're able to be independent. I actually thought it was really powerful when they were all taking the saddles off of
very
the
powerful
dragons. I thought like that was really
Yeah.
nice imagery.
Yeah, but yeah, what you're saying is like I kind of saw the epilogue coming. I was like, they can see each other again. It's not like Toothless can't fly out.
Well, I truly was gonna be one of those things where it's like, well, first of all, I was like, okay, with all the dragons gone, these people can never leave Burke. Because I don't know if you saw, but that island was way high in the air. And then one of the first things
Yeah.
we see in the little epilogue is they've come up with like a pulley system with ships to go down to be able to
Right.
get into the
Well,
water.
to be the first Burke was very high up in the air too. Was on those like cliff sides.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I guess you're right.
They've figured that part out, but yeah, I mean, it's also your life got a lot easier when you had these very fast moving flying creatures that can hunt and do things for you, and now you're gonna have to like restart
I
from
really was
zero.
thinking, like, do these people like, right? Like, are these people gonna be okay? Like, not having dragons
Right,
to
dragons
work
were
with?
truly the oil of Burke. They were dependent. The people we didn't
Yeah.
have it for so long, and then once it happened, we kind of became dependent on it. But good for them for
It would
cutting
be
ties
like
with
if all
big
of a
oil.
sudden, yeah, it'd be like if all of a sudden we all just like let our cars drive off,
Yeah,
and now we don't have cars anymore.
yeah.
Like, I guess I would live, of course you can live without a car, but like, damn.
Yeah, we'd have to like figure some stuff, especially we're speaking from LA perspective, but we'd have some figuring stuff out to do here, certainly.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally. Yeah, no, but it's like, I like an ending where it's like, yeah, like, you guys can still see each other. Like, geez, we don't want to make this like
so yeah,
goodbye forever and ever.
you have to live. Yeah, so you kind of got that feeling. You're like, it doesn't have to be goodbye forever. You're just not going to be, his house cat anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, you just gotta let the cat go outside and
Yeah, he had to release him back to the wild.
yeah.
And then both Hiccup and Toothless had kids.
Oh my god. So for that epilogue of them sailing, and we get full John Krasinski with the beard, Hiccup.
Full John Krasinski.
They
yeah.
have, and him and Astrid have that wedding with the elder, which why does because Game of Thrones had a very similar wedding with an elder like wrapping a cloth around hands.
I mean, Bridgett, I think that's like probably one of the older like wedding traditions. I mean, Catholic weddings still sometimes do that with like a rope.
Oh, I did not know that. So,
Yeah, today you learned.
today I learned. Yeah.
No, but like that,
It makes
that
sense.
kind of like
I get
imagery.
I get
Yeah.
the symbolism of that. It makes sense to me. But yeah, they have their beautiful wedding with that elder, and I loved her dragons.
Well, shit, Game of Thrones probably took it from Viking weddings. Let's be real.
That's probably true.
Let's be real.
I loved when they showed everyone's dragon releasing, and the elder was like a dragon hoarder, and she had all her little dragons.
Yeah.
I did like that. That was a nice touch. But yeah, we see them on the boat, and they're driving off. They're sailing off with their very adorable kids to the end of the world.
Yes. Yes.
They're adorable cartoon babies. And then we see on the bluff, they had Hiccup in the Light Fury and their babies. And Toothless fall. Oh, for the second one, when they tried to fake us out and pretend like Toothless wasn't going to remember Hiccup.
He just had to smell him a little bit. He didn't recognize him with the beard.
Yeah, that's true. He needed to smell him. They were faking us out like he wasn't going to be cool with the kids. But of course he was.
Yeah.
That was an adorable scene. The kids' faces were very well done. And then they have a little flying scene. And the baby dragons.
They had puppies.
They
They
had-
had little puppies.
Oh, and I love the touch where one was black with a white belly. And then
Yeah,
the other
he
one
looked like
was
a
white
little
with
orca
like
whale.
black feature. I like how they, oh god, those baby dragons were cute. I wanted a whole litter
I was
of them.
gonna ask, do you think dragons are mammals? But no, they're reptiles. We know that they have eggs.
Yeah, we saw the eggs. So
Yeah. They also end with this monologue voiceover from Hiccup, and he's kind of making this point that like some people say dragons never existed. They never left. Like they've always
Right.
been here. They're just hiding
Oh,
from us, whatever,
yeah.
whatever. And I actually do want to say, like dragons, there's like no scientific proof of any kind of dragon, but like my question is like, why not? Like we know pterodactyls couldn't breathe fire, you know what I mean? Like we kind of already have the ingredients for a dragon. And I would also say, I think it's kind of interesting that dragon lore throughout time and history has always been the same. They can always breathe fire, they can always fly, and they always give birth via egg. So like
Yeah.
maybe.
maybe
I'm just saying.
I
Like, why not? Why can't we find like fossils and it's like, oh, this is actually a dragon for real?
I mean, we have
Why not?
a Komodo dragon. I went to Drexel University, where we are the Drexel Dragons, and
Mario?
Mario the Dragon. Thank you very much, Sarah. And I think my freshman year they did Drexel. I think the biology department or something like that of Drexel did an exhibit with a science museum out there of like the history and biology of dragons.
Interesting.
throughout different cultures, and like the anatomy that different, like how different cultures drew dragons differently and where they got that anatomy from. So there's I guess interesting stuff there, but yeah, I like the ending where it's we just said dragons were fake and they went underground. They're in this hidden world, and every time a natural disaster
That's nice.
happens,
That's nice to think
yeah,
about.
and every time a natural disaster happens, like a volcano erupts or the earthquakes, it's just the dragon saying hi.
Yeah, and then I did also leave with the thought of like, because I think he kind of made a point of like, maybe one day the dragons will return. And I was kind of thinking like, and for what reason
Yeah,
would they?
I
Like COVID, like, oh, now it's time for the dragons to come back.
You
Like,
would think.
When,
I mean,
when do you think the dragons? I would think like maybe World War II would be like where they should have shown up.
do
You know
think,
what I mean? Like,
do you think they would return when things get good or bad? I kind of got the idea that like when the world was at harmony, then we get our dragons back. Not like we need the
yeah,
dragons.
I guess they're not loyal to like all humans, huh? They're just kind of loyal to the people on Burke. And
Right.
even
I
then,
think
like
they'll
depends
come
on
out
the
of
dragon.
hiding when like things are chill, when we can all get along. I think that's
okay.
I think that was more, but
I was thinking the dragons would come and like save us maybe from something.
Sure. That also makes sense, but I think I think this movie kind of wanted to end on a note of peace and harmony. I'm just guessing. I don't ever
Yes.
want to, speak for the filmmaker, but it is a children's movie.
No. I guess it just was, way too complicated for me to follow.
Yeah, you're a little darker, a little edgier.
Yes. Yeah, these movies I just think are stunning. They're so likable, they're easy to watch.
Yeah, they're so
really
comforting.
Stick to and they really know what they're about. These movies are really confident in themselves.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about. They know what they're saying. By keeping the theme of like just like general growing up, like boil it down to like its core. These are all kind of coming of age movies in their own rights.
Yeah.
It just makes these movies really clear.
Yeah.
Like the most relatable thing on earth, good for any age, just really confident. Trilogies, franchises, whatever, sometimes they feel the need like, well, we gotta like, that one's about this, so this one's gotta be about something else. We gotta mix it up. And it's been 9 years since the first one came out, so how can we make it different? And it's like, why don't you just tell the story you've been telling this whole time?
Right. And it's not like they were telling the same story over again. Each movie
No.
matures and adds on
An
to the
evolution
theme.
of, yeah.
Like the first one was very much about, growing up, boys and fathers. They added, parental dynamics of growing up in the second one, and kind of falling in love and that whole thing. And then they just added to that on the third one, and how to mature with somebody, mature with another person.
Yeah. Yes.
Very poignant, but ultimately simple themes that they just like execute really well and tell the story in like,
because again, they don't try to like they don't try to bullshit it up with like a bunch of other things. It's like, let's just keep it so simple. And when it's that easy to follow and keep track of, you have 3 confident films that all confidently tell the same story.
Yeah, and I think, well, I mean, I think going back to what we were saying in the beginning of kind of being wary of the third movie because it was marketed more heavily. The other 2 movies, I don't remember being very heavily marketed, and we're just like these nice, simple stories.
Well, also, like, this one did come out just a few years ago. Like, I remember this movie being in like, I vividly remember.
Yes.
I think like
maybe
like NFL like ads were running on Sundays or shit like that. Like, there is a reason.
I mean, for sure there is, but I think like adding the title "Hidden World," it just made it seem, I don't know, for some reason, I got older and was certainly more cynical. It seemed more gimmicky to me, but no,
I mean, totally.
These movies stick to their core really well throughout and never jump a shark or try to be something they're not, or feel like something that's trying to sell toys, even though I'm sure, they made plenty of money off toys.
Yeah, I'm looking at this is the worldwide box office, because I'm sure this is like a top 10 finisher.
Yeah.
Wow, it actually wasn't, because holy shit, do you know that every movie on Earth came out in 2019?
Yes, that is true. It was the last year movies were a thing.
It's the last year that movies everyone knew, like, somehow. Yeah, it's like Avengers Endgame, Lion King, Toy Story 4, Frozen 2, Captain Marvel, a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that's tough for
Spider-Man
How to
Far
Train Your
From
Dragon.
Home.
That's a tough break for
Aladdin,
DreamWorks.
fucking Joker.
Yeah.
It Chapter 2, Jumanji. Actually, you know it made a little bit more money than How to Train Your Dragon? Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, of course it did. It's a tough break for DreamWorks. Real tough break for DreamWorks.
Oh, this movie came out in February as well. They just kind of dumped this one. But I mean, obviously it's still
a good movie.
made.
I think this is
watch this trilogy.
It's such a
very
solid
good trilogy of movies.
Yeah, it's such a solid trilogy. It's so comforting. It's a great watch anytime. I watched this last one curled up in bed, and it was delightful.
Yeah, I wish like I had kids to babysit, because I feel like this would be a great movie to put on when you're babysitting.
Absolutely.
Or looking after any kind of kids.
Yeah, a good, easy, like, watch that, will get you, that will entertain you, and definitely make you say, oh, wait, cutie. Oh, what a sweet boy.
You will ooh and ah. I'm happy to have seen these movies, but I am sad to call it a wrap on this trilogy, because I feel like the next set of trilogy that we land on, like, it can't be, I mean, maybe it can be better than this if we're strategic about how we pick, but like, this is really like a confident trilogy.
It really,
I'm thinking back to the movies we've done. Maybe this is the best set of trilogy we've talked about and watched, honestly. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't think the third Matrix movie is very good. I don't like the third Matrix movie very much.
Sure. But you're saying that over the before?
Those movies are very good, don't get me wrong. This, I just think
this has a more universal
that
appeal.
is also very simple. And these also more feel, frankly, like movies to me. When I watch the Before trilogy, it's like I'm watching a play, which I do appreciate. But I also admire like a confident, well-rounded motion picture. This is like why I also love Steven Spielberg. It's like sometimes I do want to go to the movies and see a movie, in the words of Harry Styles. Like, I want to see a movie that is a movie, and these are like movies.
Sure, yeah, these are definitely like
confidently.
You can watch these at any age with any pairing of people and enjoy it and enjoy yourself. The Before, there is probably more of a barrier to entry on those. Almost certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love the Before trilogy so much as my artsy gatekeeping film school self, but
fair enough. No, I mean they're excellent films. I just think that the Before trilogy, I think these characters talk about like everything and it's very heady
and nothing, and they're not plot driven.
Yeah, and again, like the point I'm trying to make here is like these are very confident movies because they're very simple. It's like, listen, this is a movie about growing up, period. And then from there, what can they, what story can they tell? Always with that compass pointing north.
I would go to these movies if I was teaching a screenwriting class, like a college screenwriting class. I would
actually the first one definitely.
The first one for sure. If I was teaching a class on like trilogies or like how to make an arc, how to grow your characters, like this is
even like world building, like if you were a production design professor or something like that, like talk about really thick world building.
Really well done trilogies that add on to each other, that grow as the movies go on, that don't lose anything. Super well done series. I do really love these movies. Normally at this point we would announce what we're doing next, but if we're going to be totally candid with you guys, our loyal listeners whom we love,
TBD
we have not
is the
spoken
name of the
about it.
trilogy.
We have not.
TBD.
TBD. Big TBD. As always, we love hearing what your suggestions are. They are taken into an account and put away in a list, and we will certainly probably eventually get to all of them. Because you guys have great
we might need
suggestions.
to do we might need to flip it to like an international trilogy or like maybe like an older trilogy or something like that. Like I like keeping these a little different. We got a little bit of everything now.
Yeah, I just had some ideas. I'll keep them on the DL. I'll keep people in suspense because I want you guys to come at us with what you got.
Yeah, and you can always holler at us on our Patreon page under the Small Beans page. Become a patron if that is something that you're capable of. Before the new year begins or as the new year begins, get a year's worth in, see how you like it, stick around. There's a ton of great programming on there.
Yeah.
You can also holler at us on Twitter. I'm at SK_Griffith.
I'm at Bridgett Tweets, and that's Bridgett, BRIDGETT, T, Weets. 3 T's in a row.
BRIGDGETTTTTWET.
Just keep typing in T's and you'll hit it eventually.
T.
Yeah. Just keep pressing T.
I mean, implying that by the time this episode comes out, our Twitter accounts haven't been brutally suspended and hasn't been destroyed. But while you can still say hi to us there.
Yeah, and then we'll there you can find us.
Most def. And we will be back next year with even more movies and even more cute little guys.
And if you have a pet that looks like Toothless or the Night Fury, send it to Sarah.
Actually, let's cut this shit. If you have a pet, period.
We love pets.
Send me a photo.
I don't know if you can tell, but Sarah and I love pets and cuties.
Let us see your dog. Let me see your dog. Or kitty. That's my parody of the thong song. Get it?
I got it. I think that's an ending right there.
This has been a Small Beans endeavor. We're a bunch of pals who make podcasts, sketches, music, web series, and movies. The beans always have new ideas percolating, so make sure to check us out at patreon.com/smallbeans. That's patreon.com/smallbeans, where you can browse all of our current and past content, see what we've got planned in the future, and learn how your support can help the small beans grow into huge, giant monster beans. If you enjoyed this content module, please like, rate, subscribe, or tell a friend about us. We love you.